Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, here in Southern California. It is a beautiful day today, a day when we pause to think about all the innocents who lost their lives on 9/11 and the first responders who ran into the burning buildings instead of away from the burning buildings. It's for their sacrifice that we are able to enjoy the great outdoors, and we have to pause every single year on 9/11 and remember the innocents who lost their lives. All right, back to reality here, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, there's a lot of trauma still associated with that terrible day in American history. We continue to honor those who perished that day and keep them in our hearts and souls. All right, back here in SoCal, man, do we have some great fishing going on. I mean, incredible stuff. Yes, there's some weather that's up. Yes, we've seen a little bit of a dip in some bites, but man, the overall picture is still really, really good. We're going to talk about what Brad Phillips is seeing down around Turtle Bay, down the Baja Coast, and how that might be in our future. Some great long-range fishing on the Shogun, and a guy named Mike Krinkovich, who's a great family member of Friedman Adventures family with his first wahoo on the Royal Polaris. I'll show it to you right now. Mike, way to go. Nice catch. First two on the RP as they are doing their thing down the Baja Coast. Also, some big bluefin tuna in SoCal, and also some stuff in range of full day boats getting close to the coast here. It's been here for a while. We'll have to see how it all plays out here today. All right, you guys know what day it is. You know what time it is. It is time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friend. Oh, delicious. Great to be with you all. A couple of reminders before we get into today's report. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Don't forget we're on Instagram, Facebook, and of course TikTok, where we join you every single day with more content. Just open a new YouTube channel if you're interested in getting healthier and getting out to walk and perhaps some good nutrition. It is Walk with Phil. And I would deeply appreciate if you went there and subscribed. That would mean the world to me. Also tonight, Sam De La Torre and Tackle Shop Confessions. Sam is unable to do the show Tuesday, so we've got a special Monday night live show for you here this evening that you're not going to want to miss. Forget the NFL. It's time for Sam De La Torre tonight, and if you do want to watch the football game, and I get that, it'll be archived for you. You'll be able to check that out Wednesday night live from 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California. We've got a lobster seminar that you're going to love with Gil Hernandez and Steve Oropesa. They're going to give you a great lobster seminar on how to hoop for langostas. And then at the end of that, you'll be able to fire your questions in and learn more about how you can be more successful with regard to that. This morning, we had that red sky in the morning, sailor tape warning, and we certainly are seeing some windy conditions offshore around Tanner, Cortez, and Clemente Island. A lot of guys threw the towel in last night and said, too rough, we're going to pass, wait for some better weather. But some boys gutted it out, and we'll talk about how they did and what they caught. Weather's up, and it's going to remain that way for a little bit. The beginning of next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the long-range forecast is flat calm, but we're going to have some breezier conditions. Now, having said that, let's get into what is going on. I'll start you out down the Baja Coast. Brad Phillips is down there, and he said, Phil, down here around Turtle Bay, there is so much dorado. There is so much yellowfin tuna, black skipjack, all tropical warm water type species down here that it's incredible. 78-degree water, and he said it's got its nose pointed up toward you guys in San Diego. You can see this off-color water. We have this offshore. We would love to see that clean up, and I think that would help with the progression of that fish moving up. But Brad said that it is so voluminous, the amount of fish down there, copious amounts of yellowfin and dorado, that he's able to catch dorado, yellowfin tuna, black skipjack from the beach. He's down there chucking jigs off the rocks where he catches big yellowtail on a regular basis, but now he's getting yellowfin tuna, he's getting some black skipjack, he's catching dorado. Man, I would love to go down and just do that, but that certainly bodes well for our future. And we do not get any Arctic-based storms here in SoCal. Our water stays warm or continues to warm because of the influence of El Nino, we are looking down the barrel of a great late summer, outstanding fall, and I hate to say it, but if we stay warm, we'll go right into the wintertime on this bite. Things are setting up and looking really, really good. All right, Mike Krinkovich, as I mentioned, congratulations on that nice who on board the Royal Plus. Carl Schmidt is on board the Shogun, or was on board, and he said, man, they fished the beach for really great yellowtail fishing, 18 to 25 pounders, moved offshore, caught a bunch of yellowfins in it, and he said the crew on board the Shogun was totally outstanding. Can't get any better than that. Speaking of great long range boats, the Independence, we go October the 20th. Still have plenty of room on that trip. It is a 5-day trip. What a boat. What food. What a crew. And man, now we're looking down the barrel of this great fishing. Jump on board. Friedman Adventures will be there. I'll be shooting a brand new video, and we would love to see you on board that one. Only $2,250, and that is a great price for the Independence. Not only that, you can hardly get on that boat most years, so here's your opportunity. 5 days, Friedman Adventures, on board the Independence, sailing on October the 20th from Point Loma Sport Fishing in San Diego. Would love to see you on board that one. All right, let's get into what is going on now with the boats out on Tanner and Cortez. The weather came up, but before it came up, that bluefin tuna bite, as we told you, was full speed, wide open, incredible fishing. I mean, it's hard to imagine it getting any better than it is. I talked to Trevor from the Freedom last night. He was there. They scratched out like 44 bluefin tuna on their daytime bite. They're on a 2-day trip. Then they go out to see if the nighttime fish want to play, and play is an understatement. My God, what a bite. $1.20 on the bluefin tuna. Trevor said it was so good that it was actually silly. Wide open. 100 plus on the bluefin tuna. And the fish range anywhere from 10 pounds, which are very few, a lot of 20 to 40s, right on up to just under 300 pounds. There's a lot of big fish, a lot of great fishing going on, and it's hard to imagine it getting much better than it is. Now, the weather did come up on us. The Royal Star still had some outstanding fishing last night. Excellent fishing for the Royal Star, given the fact that they were battling some really snotty weather, some sporty seas, to say the very, very least. And hopefully we'll see more of these catches as this weather moderates. It's going to be breezy until, I want to say, Thursday, and then it starts to come down. There's some dips up and down. It should be fishable for those bigger boats and even some of the smaller guys here. You're just going to get your butt kicked a little bit, but that fish is showing no reluctance to bite in this kind of weather. You do need to fish a heavier jig, however. 400-gram jigs are probably the way you want to get it done. Don't fish anything less than 100-pound specter. 200-pound leader material is what I like to see you with. And metered line allows you to know what depth your jig is at, and that is so important. The captain is going to come on the PA and he's going to say drop. You need to drop immediately, then you got to get it down to the depth that he is telling you to get it at. Any confusion, you need any kind of tutoring, so to speak, about all of this, talk to a crew member. Make friends with a crew member. It'll make all the difference in the world to your success. Other boats had some pretty good nighttime fishing. As I said, some boys threw the towel in because it was pretty doggone rough, so we'll see how it goes. Trevor Benson, a great Friedman Adventures family member. Trevor, good morning to you. 25 anglers on the T-Bird, and they had 30 yellowfin and 20 dorado. Not too bad, not wide open on that YFT dorado. That's starting to take a back seat to the bluefin again. But Trevor, who must be doing everything right, went 4 for 4 on the yellowfin tuna and had a flathead to go along with it. And with the count on the boat and his individual score, man, that is really excellent fishing. Good job, Trevor. Love to see that. He loved the crew on board the T-Bird also. Polaris Supreme is already rated in limits of bluefin tuna, so it's still going on, no question about it. Cortez just got in from a 3.5-day trip with limits of bluefin tuna, 20 yellowtail, 14 guys, 270-pound BFT for the big one. There are some big bluefin wandering around. You wonder, are we going to see a 400-pounder here one of these days? So weather's up. Some guys threw in the towel. The nighttime bite, phenomenal. Royal Star still got a good piece of it along with several other long-range boats last night. things are looking great. And when you look down the Baja coast and you listen to what we heard from Brad, that fish, if it gets up here, it's going to be an insane October, maybe late September. It's just looking great. You just don't like that off color water. You run into that way offshore, which is kind of bizarre. You don't expect to see it. It's not everywhere, but it is pretty dominant right now in Southern California. We'll see how things go as we move along. All right, full day boats out of San Diego yesterday, got up there around La Jolla offshore there, and they found some biting bluefin. It's not small fish. It is really beautiful fish. Several of the boats in on it. You know, Liberty and all the boys that fish that. Local fish doing pretty good. The San Diego yesterday, 32 guys, 53 bluefin tuna, 4 yellowfin tuna. There are some nice fish in there. The Sea Watch had 30 bluefin tuna, 8 yellowfin tuna, 7 dorado. The bluefin, 30 to 120 pounds. And you know, that yellowfin tuna, nothing to scoff at. 15 to, I want to say 35, 40 pounds. Nice grade of YFT in most cases. A lot of 18-pound stuff in there, so really, really good. Remember, sometimes this fish is super finicky, so you got to drop your fluorocarbon down. 25-pound in some cases. There's a lot of big ones wandering around, so you've got to gauge this. You've got to make a decision on whether or not you can get a bite on that heavier line or not. And if you can't, you go with that. You go with as heavy as you can get a bite on. Your observational skills, watching everybody around you, you've got to be really keen. You've got to focus in on exactly what's going on all around you to get the job done. And smaller hooks like a number 1 or 2 treble hook sometimes are necessary. Other times when it's full speed, you can go to some heavier stuff. But some pretty darn good fishing. We're already hearing folks that are getting in on it here this morning, not far from home for a lot of landings and getting out of some of that windy weather. It's a little breezy along the coast, but not anything like it is out there around Chandler and Cortez. So that is some really great news, and hopefully that is going to continue to head in the right direction. As we mentioned to you before, this is going on from San Diego base landings all the way up to, I want to say, San Pedro. Let's say that, Redondo for sure. And then we do see some bluefin up there out of the Channel Islands, and Tanner and Cortez definitely accessible for the boys out of Ventura and Cisco's and all those guys when you're on a multi-day trip. So that is all super great news. So remember, bury your tackle. You got to be prepared for finicky fishing. You got to be prepared for wide open fish. And if you're out there fishing at night on any boats from San Diego up to the Channel Islands and you're headed to Tanner and Cortez, you've got to have some really heavy, good tackle. 2-speed reels are the only way you're going to be able to manage a 270-pound bluefin tuna. And you know there's some bigger fish than that wandering around. Islands have been kind of overlooked. I mean, they've been hit here recently. You look down there at the Coronado Islands, just a little bit of yellowfin. There's too much going on offshore for anybody to point their bow in that direction right now. San Clemente Island, same thing. Way too much going on. There's been a few yellows taken up. Decent calico batches in Virginia, Catalina Island. We see a few yellowtail out there. Decent calico fishing when fishing the 12 and 15 pound. That's what's going to get you a bite. Able to fill in with some good rockfish. That always does you well. So you'll be able to catch lots of rockfish and nothing wrong with that. Nick Ramirez came by the Friedman Adventures studios yesterday. He was on board the Monte Carlo in the morning. Nick, always great to see you. And I got to meet a young man, Francisco, and his dad. They came in. I was walking around the landing yesterday, and Francisco says, "Hey, aren't you that TikTok guy?" I said, "Yeah, thank God you didn't recognize me from some other nefarious thing." Anyway, I invited his dad and Francisco into the studio. We got some photos, and I said, "Hey, Francisco, you got to have a fishing hat on, man, to bring you luck." So I gave him a big fish bait and tackle hat. He went out there, and man, when he came back, he had a sack of fillets from the morning Monte Carlo trip that was absolutely awesome. Francisco and your dad, it was so nice to meet you guys. So glad you had fun on board the Monte Carlo with some good fishing. That transitioned me into the local bite, and we do have to look at that 45-pound WSB. Nice sea bass down there out of San Diego on board the Dolphin. What a beautiful catch for that young man. Congratulations on doing such a great job. You see a little bit of calico bass, a lot of rockfish up and down our coast. Up here in this neck of the bluefin tuna, really close to Newport, on the 14-mile bank, several other areas. You are likely, I guess I could say, it's possible, probable, to run into some bluefin tuna now. Just about anywhere you travel, you find good warm water with some bait. Man, those fish are everywhere. However, the bass bite for LA Orange County Bay boats has been slower overall, but plenty of rockfish to help fill in, provide you with excellent table fare and a fish taco feast for the Sam De La Torre show tonight. So that is all really great stuff, and I'm so happy to see that happening. By the way, down there at 22nd Street Landing yesterday, Michael Limon and Dan Lightfoot showed up, and I was able to pay Michael his cash because, I don't know if you saw the show from Sam De La Torre's island fishing tackle the other day. Michael was doing jumping jacks in the background of the show, and Charles Zimmer, the president of the Redondo Rod and Gun Club, said, I'll give Michael $1 for every one he does. So I stopped Michael at about 60 jumping jacks because I didn't want to soak Chuck so bad. Chuck paid me, I paid Michael. It was happy times with Michael fishing down there at 22nd Street Landing. His grandpa uses fishing as the carrot to get Michael to get good grades. And Michael has been doing that. Good job, Michael. Good seeing you both. And I did a quick interview with Dan yesterday, which you can find on the Walk with Phil YouTube channel now, about how his health has so dramatically improved since he started the carnivore diet. So you might want to check that out. He's lost a lot of weight. He's off his diabetes meds. It's all great stuff. And every one of us who fish or have a loved one, you might want to check it out. Just see how positively that has affected his life. All right, so up and down the coast, we continue to see a lot of that. However, on the Coral Sea yesterday, the guys from Team 57, Tony G, Rafa Garcia, and so many others were out on the Coral Sea, and they had some great surface action. They had 7 white sea bass, 2 halibut, 93 calico bass, excellent calico bass fishing. That was a great trip. And the guys from Team 57 really enjoyed themselves up there on board the Coral Sea out of Santa Barbara. I don't know how you can get any better than that. Our true fishing, you got to find some clean water. This stuff is all mucked up. I've even seen some guys pick a corvina or 2 out of this dirty water, but hopefully we'll get out of this red tide situation here pretty soon. That has been pretty persistent this year, lately at least. Once again, when you find that cleaner water, there's a good chance that some yellowfin croaker, some corvina, there's also some slotfin croaker, which you'll take on the bait, and also still a few halibut when you can find some cleaner water. Your surf fishing headquarters. I can walk there in about 15 minutes from right here at this spot, Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California. So some good stuff going on there. A guy by the name of Vaughn, and that's why I gotta say, I'm so proud to have so many good people surrounding us here at the Friedman Adventures. Vaughn sends me a message yesterday. He says, hey, are you gonna be around the landing? I wanna bring you some gifts for Mexico. So I said, yeah. Vaughn shows up. What a gentleman. What a nice guy. Not only did he fill up his truck with so many great toys and gifts that we will be distributing south of the border in Mexico here before Christmas. Not only did he do that, but he made a generous donation to our Mexico efforts. A guy that I've never met before. Such a fine, giving, generous, wonderful person. Vaughn, thank you so very much. You have no idea how deeply we appreciate it, how the people south of the border, as we reach our hands across the border to lend a helping hand. It's because of people like you, and there's so many of you out there. By the way, we have our raffle going on to support that. Saturday, we're going to give away a 10-fathom reel that's loaded with Spectra, and it's got a nice top shot on it of mono. So you want to win that, just send me a text here today. I'll give you the raffle ticket information, and then fill out your tickets, take a photo, and send it to you. All those proceeds go to help this great venture that we are all involved in. I can't thank you enough. 657-227-6459. Just send me a text, and I'll send you back the information that you so desperately need, and it will be deeply appreciated if you're able to help us out in that venture. All right, my friends, what can I tell you? Some really great stuff going on. We do have some weather offshore. It's going to moderate next week. It's going to be glorious if the long-range forecast holds up. Once again, it is always great spending time with you. It's a beautiful Monday, great start to another week here in Southern California and around the world. So many of you are watching from Montana and Florida and Chicago and the Philippines. I can see stats that indicate we have a small audience in Russia, the Philippines, and some other countries that seem kind of bizarre to me, but I'm very grateful about. Moving up on 4 million views, just hit 11,000 subscribers, and you know I owe that all to you. Don't forget, Walk with Phil. If you want to get healthy, check that out today. Subscribe. I deeply appreciate it. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon.